You know, I gotta admit, when I went to the counter and I said, 1 ticket for Justice League, please, part of me got so excited because I never thought I'd see that in my lifetime. And then I watched the movie and, well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. You gotta watch the review. Let's do this. It's LazerDude time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. I'll talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review. So I gotta admit, guys, I never thought I'd see this day. I mean, Justice League is the team made up of my favorite superheroes, being this DC guy, and I just thought that, you know, it was impossible. Even when Marvel were doing their stuff, I thought, we're too far behind. I don't think we're gonna get a chance to do that. Nolan's doing his stuff. It's not gonna work. But this superhero movie fad has lasted a lot longer than I anticipated, and now we are finally at Justice League. So the basic story is we got this guy Steppenwolf coming down to Earth looking for these 3 mother boxes, and he's going to use them to destroy the Earth, and the Justice League has to stop him. Plain and simple. Bruce is going out trying to recruit people, Diana's on board, and she's trying to get some people as well. And that's just the first part of the movie. Then the next part is trying to stop him. So we were coming off a high with Wonder Woman and a low of Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. You know, Wonder Woman gave us the jolt that the DC Universe needed, and I was worried that this was either going to be a kickback down, or hopeful that maybe it could have been a leg up. So overall, what is my opinion on Justice League? It's okay. It's kind of weird because this movie, I was really worried going into it, and there was good scenes in this movie, and there were scenes that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but they didn't ruin it. That's the thing. There were scenes in like Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad that were mood killers. You know, anytime Jesse Eisenberg was on screen, mood killer. Anytime the Enchantress was on screen with the big light going into the sky in the city, that was a mood killer. You know, there were in Suicide Squad movie. There was stuff like that would just kill the mood and that were just so distracting. And here, there are some scenes that I might not like as much, but there's no mood killer moments. Well, there's one that kind of came close, but it wasn't dumb enough that really destroyed it for me. And I'll get to that in the spoiler part of the review. But honestly, in the first part of this movie, I felt like, wow, this really feels like a comic book. I mean, I really feel like I'm reading off of a panel when I'm looking at the way this works. The scope is big, the characters are pretty much faithful, although I will say that there's definitely been humor added to this film, and I think Batman makes too many jokes. Don't get me wrong, Batman can be a funny character, but it's usually funny because of how serious he is.
What's this do? That's not helping.
You know, like there's a scene where Batman's like, oh, that's broken. Something's broken. Or at the very least, badly bruised. And I'm like, no, that's not what Batman would say. You know, Batman would just get up and try to shrug it off, and, you know, someone like Flash would be like, Batman, are you okay? I'm fine. I mean, I think one of your ribs might be broken. I'm fine. Okay. You know, like, that's the type of humorous way to work off Batman. Let's just continue on to that. So Ben Affleck, though, he does have some good moments of Batman. I think that I was hoping that this was the moment where, you know, Ben Affleck might surpass some other people in the bat race of who's the better Batman. I don't think he did it in this. Because of stuff like that, from what I previously said, he says a few jokes. But there's also some lines or some scenes that I just like, no, Batman wouldn't do it like that. I won't go into details because we're not in the spoiler part of the review, but there's something like he says to somebody that offends them, and then later he apologizes for them. That's not Batman. Batman doesn't give a crap if you're offended. Batman doesn't give a crap if he hurt your feelings. As long as he gets the results he wanted, that's all he... If he thought that this type of manipulation would work, and if it did, then he's happy. You know, Batman in the comics is such a character where he's just like so sure of everything and has no regrets about anything unless it's like so huge. Unless it's like an earth-shattering thing where he just like wants to, where he just can't help. You know, I'm trying to think of times where I've seen Batman apologize. And it's usually been at times when somebody has either died or when he's feeling sympathy for someone. I don't really feel like he's ever, you know, he doesn't often apologize for something that he's done that he thinks is wrong. Like, in the comics, when he uses all of the knowledge of the Justice League to use their weaknesses against them, he's not like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'd do it again. You know, these are my actions, I have reasons for them. I'm not sorry about this at all. But when stuff like Brother Eye happens, that's when he realized, okay, I was wrong here. I am sorry. You know, or I don't know. That was one thing. But there's just some moments where it's just like, I actually do feel Batman. There's a moment where he talks to the Flash, and the Flash is getting a little scared, and he's just like, I don't know what to do. And I really like how that scene is handled. That's probably one of my favorite moments in the movie. Another thing, Batman's just like whipping out his secret identity all over the place. I mean, like, he tells every one of these members of this team who he is as soon as they meet. I mean, that does not seem like a Batman thing to do at all. Like, you could say, okay, he's, you know, there's an invasion happening, he needs to get these people on board now, his identity is not that big of a deal. I'm just saying, Batman doesn't really do it unless there's no other option. You know, that's not how I feel Batman would handle it. So, while it wasn't a bad version of Batman, there were some things I'm just like, I'm not feeling it as much. I mean, he still has the voice down. He has, the acting is still pretty good. I just think the writers need to work a little bit harder. Get some advice from comic book writers to get on how to write Batman, because yeah, there is a few points that are just annoyances for me. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman, and again, she's wonderful. You buy her strength, you get with her on almost every scene. You're with her, you follow her, your eyes are like drawn to her as a character, and not just because she's a beautiful woman, it's because of her presence. I actually liked all the characters, like Barry Allen as a Flash, I think was maybe a little bit too jokey, and maybe a little bit too cowardly. But they put it this, you know, that this is, you know, he hasn't really fought anyone yet. He's still just a kid with superpowers who doesn't really know what to do with them. So I can let that slide a little bit. Cyborg, I'm glad that they made him fit, you know, like in the Justice League comic I guess it wasn't War. Anyway, the Justice League comic where the movie was Justice League War, the book was Justice League Origins, where they just throw Cyborg in there. I felt that he was really just thrown in there. Didn't really have a place among the team, where they really make him part of the team is in this, and they really make him feel natural in there. His part in this story felt very natural. I felt for the character. The CGI did look odd at times. I did look at it and I'm like, man, that really feels like his face. It looks like he's using the app, you know? So, you know, the effects kind of look like this. They look a little off. I mean, they look better than this, obviously. But, you know, there is something a little off about it where you know it's fake. But it's not bad. But I find that I can be forgiving with bad CGI as long as it's not, like, distracting in a way. You know, it's like, does the character's emotion still go through? Yeah, pretty much. Can I still get across what the character is going through and what the character is like? Yeah, pretty much. Aquaman by Jason Momoa, he's good. He's fun. I think that there's a lot more to do with him to get him a full development character. I think there's a lot more to do with him to get him a fully realized character, but yeah, I think he was fun. He had good moments. The action scenes, like, there's some that are good, but then some of them are just over quickly. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like, there's good moments in them, but they were just like, well, that could have gone on a little longer. And I have a feeling that it probably did. Maybe too long. Maybe that's why, maybe like the Snyder cut, they were longer, but I don't really care about that. If I see it, good. If I don't, then whatever. Moving on. Villain, pretty generic, typical by-the-numbers villain. That's, yeah, pretty much. It's just a villain who basically, bad guy has a evil helmet, is strong, and takes these mother boxes, which, one thing here, can somebody just flipping get right what a mother box is, okay? I mean, honestly, it seems like nowhere except for the comics and Young Justice do they get, and the Justice League animated show, comics and animation are the only places that get right what a mother box is. Like, in this movie, there's 3 different mother boxes that come together to get these energy that could destroy the world. In the Justice League video game, I'm not sure who remembers that, but I don't care. It's like this device that changes the whole world into apocalypse, which, what? How did that happen? And in Injustice 2, they're loot boxes, so you know what? Just, this is a mother box, okay? It just makes boom tubes. And if the mother boxes are the things making boom tubes like they are in... Oh, by the way, the boom tubes look flipping cool. I'm like, that's a boom tube right there. That's exactly what a boom tube looks like. But anyway, that's a nitpick. Okay, if this versions of mother boxes are these 3 things that can make a big energy, things that can destroy the world, that's fine. Although, I will say I don't feel the menace, because they, those mother boxes were very... They say that they unleashed an energy, but we never really got to see what it was. You know, it would have been nice if, like, the thing in the beginning, like, if it unleashed... You know, I'm getting into spoiler territory. Is there anything else I really need to talk about? Villain mediocre, characters really good, the storytelling is... But, you know, I was thinking to myself when I left the theater, if this was a 2-parter episode on Justice League the Animated Series instead of the one that we got in the Justice League Animated Series, would I liked it? I'd say, yeah, I think I would. And that's where I'm at with this film. I like it. There's not a lot that I love about it. I just enjoyed myself. I'm not sure how other people will find it. Like, who aren't comic book fans. There might not be that nostalgic drive or that, you know, that hold that it has over you that it does for me. But I think overall, I think it's an okay film. I can't really go anything beyond that. I think it's probably the second best out of the DC films, but there's nothing gloriously special about it. You know, like if they were trying to outdo the Avengers, they didn't do it. They didn't come close. But if they were there just to make it an entertaining film that I enjoyed, then yeah, they did. Succeeded. Thumbs up. So, with that said, it's time to give my rating, and I'm going to give Justice League a 6 out of 10. You know what, I'm going to give this an above average rating, and I think this is probably lower than what I gave, like, I think it might be the same what I gave for Batman v Superman, and lower than what I gave for Suicide Squad. Looking back, I should have probably given Suicide Squad maybe a 5-4, and maybe definitely a 4 for Batman v Superman. I put my own enjoyment over it, so I'm trying to, you know, take my personal enjoyment out of these things and put in what I actually think the movie rates to. And so I'm giving Justice League a 6 out of 10. It's an above average movie. I would watch it again. I would recommend it to, not everybody, but I would recommend it to other comic book fans. Like, I wouldn't, like, just take this movie and show it to everybody I know, but there's definitely certain people that I think would definitely get a kick out of it. So now it's time for the spoiler part of the review. If you have not seen this movie, you have been warned. It is now time to move on to spoilers, and even though it's probably not that big of a spoiler, let's start with Superman. Because this was the one part where I didn't really like it. This is one, as I said, there wasn't that many mood killers, but this part came close. It redeemed itself after when Superman did get resurrected. But I'm like, why are we doing this? This is so unnecessary. It's like, they were like 2 steps away from having a seance. Like, hola, yeah, Superman, come back to life, yeah. You know, they were just 1 step away from having a flippin' seance. Having the mother box bring Superman back to life is actually a good idea. But I don't think it should have happened in the way it was. Because we saw at the end of Batman v Superman, little dust floated off the ground, so his body wasn't fully dead. It maybe was only mostly dead, but, you know, it wasn't fully dead. So why didn't you have, like, the mother box just send this giant wave, like the Justice League in when they grabbed it, maybe there was something that happens and Flash touches it, and because of the energy or something like that, a big wave of energy just goes over the whole planet, and that helps jumpstart him back. Taking his body, digging it up, bringing it to the ship, dropping it into the water, then dropping the mother back, and having Flash charge it at the same time, only to bring Superman back to life. Overkill! You're overthinking this. That, to me, is where the movie felt the most Zack Snyder-esque. I'm like, okay, this is definitely Snyder-esque. I don't see that this is a Joss Whedon thing. So I was like, yeah, this feels off. This is totally unnecessary. Because you already set it up. You already set up that Superman was going to come back to life in the last film. You don't need a reason. It's Superman. He will come back. We know. Just have, like, the mother box send this wave that goes across the planet, and then that's when he comes back and he just jumps out of his coffin, and then he just starts flying and lands in Metropolis. And that's when they go to him. And that's when the fight happens. I'm just saying, there could have been like, maybe he flies to the mother box, he's drawn towards it, and you know, he's a little bit out of it, you know? That's just, it's simple. That way you don't have the whole moral debate of, oh, should we bring him back from the dead? Should we not? Like, I'm like, am I watching Willow and Xander debate about this in Buffy? You know? Oh, wait, that might be spoilers for Buffy. But anyway, you know, I'm just like, why? Why are we going on about this? This is a bad... But as I say, they make up for it for having the Superman vs. Justice League fight, which is kind of cool. I'll admit, when Flash was trying to run around Superman, and Superman goes like... I'm like, yes! That look, like the look on Flash's face, I'm just like, yes, that is good. I love that. You know, there wasn't any big dialogue thing. It wasn't like, how can you see me? It was just the looks. And I'm like, yes. And they were fighting each other. I love how they showed Superman's power and how he was just powerful of the League. But it kind of was kind of funny in the end. Okay, that part with Flash and Superman at the end, when Superman's back in his right mind, and, you know, he's making a joke, like, you get the ones on the left, I'll get the ones on the right. That felt like the most Superman that Superman has ever felt in this franchise. You know, he's wholesome, he's, you know, fun, and, you know, he's decent, and, you know, and he inspires. And I like that. You know, and I like to see where like Flash pushes the truck away, that Superman's carrying a whole building. And I love it, was like, as soon as Superman gets his like OP mode, and like Steppenwolf is like trying, and then Superman's just like blam, you know, he's like it's nothing, which I think is good because Steppenwolf is just a foot soldier, right? So I think the next film, when they finally go against Darkseid, when they go against Darkseid, and Darkseid's gonna beat the crap out of Superman, that's going to feel all the more like, holy crap. The scene that I was talking about the Batman and the Flash, it was the scene where you just save one person, then you'll know what to do. And then he does, and he's like, okay, I gotta save one more. I like that. That's a good scene where he's just like, Flash is saving people while the rest of them are fighting. Superman saying the line, do you bleed back to Batman? I don't know how I feel about that. That was just like, that was kind of cool, but kind of harkens back to feel like I'm watching Batman v Superman again. You know, it's probably nothing, but isn't it a little odd that the Avengers movies, the Avengers were just trying to get this cube, and now in Justice League movie, they're going after 3 bigger cubes? I just say, that feels like a little bit of DC trying to one-up them. This movie is very similar to Avengers. You know, A bunch of superheroes come together. They're going after these boxes instead of box. But, you know, they'll annihilate the world if they're not destroyed. You know what? I don't really need to... I want to see now Bruce and Clark develop a friendship. I want the past to be behind them. I want them to move on and develop the Batman-Superman friendship. And have the Trinity... If you made a Trinity movie before the big fight with Darkseid, just a Trinity movie that had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman fight up against, I don't know, you could have maybe Brainiac in that point, maybe you could have Ra's al Ghul, maybe just those three characters working off of each other. I would love that. That would just be amazing. But in any case, I think I've talked about this too much. I've given my rating. And, yeah, I'm sticking to it. So tell me what you guys thought about Justice League below. As I say, I think it's fun. I think it's a good movie, or just above average, at the least. So I thought I had a good time with it, and I'll definitely be picking it up when it comes out on DVD. It's not going to make my top 10 favorite movies of all time, or even favorite superhero movies, but it definitely is still another step. Like, Wonder Woman was a leap in the right direction. This is just another step in the right direction. And it's the next movies that are really going to show whether or not this movie has staying power. This franchise. We're starting to pick up some momentum here. Let's not waste it. So thanks for watching, everybody. I am LazerDude. See you later. Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.